Hello there and welcome to another cooking video. Today I'm going to show you how I make a chicken, bacon and mushroom slice using puff pastry. Right, here's a list of ingredients. It's fairly straightforward and nothing to be concerned about. All available at your local supermarket. So let's begin. Okay, so we're going to start off with 4 rashers of streaky bacon. So just pop them on the board and separate them out. And what we want to do is cut them into strips, but not too small. Just cut across the length of the each rasher, as you see in the video. I normally use a pair of scissors because I find it the easiest way to do this. Okay, so that's all your bacon done. So just pop the plate to one side. Okay, we're going to make some chicken stock up now. You want 300 milliliters. For this, just follow the instructions on the packaging that comes with your chosen stock. Okay, so now we're going to slice some mushrooms up. We need 150 grams of mushrooms, and we're just going to slice them. I always tend to cut the tips of the stalks off. Like that. We need to chop up 1 onion. It's got to be fairly finely diced. Okay, so now we're going to prepare the chicken. These are basically boned, skinless chicken thighs. 2 of them. So we're going to season both sides with a bit of salt and pepper, and I'm going to put some paprika on as well. You don't really want too much salt because the streaky bacon that you're using, if you use smoked streaky bacon, then that's fairly salty in its own right. So you don't want to add too much extra salt. You want to do both sides of the chicken. Just add a bit of paprika. I think all in all I use about 1 teaspoon of paprika. You want to remove any unsavoury bits which are on your chicken, like this bit here. It's like doing a bit of surgery, really. Okay, now we want to season the other side, doing exactly what we did before. A bit of salt, some pepper, and paprika. Okay, so now we want to fry our chicken thighs. So I put 2 tablespoons of oil in and let it heat up. Set it to a medium heat. Unfortunately, our cooker is always on a bit of a lean, so I have to scrape the oil to the back of the pan. It all seems to collect to the front. I need to level it sometime. So pop your chicken in. And you want to fry it until it's cooked through. As it says, this will probably take about 10 minutes on a medium heat. Right, you always need to pull apart the chicken slightly just to make sure that the bits inside are sort of cooked through. There we've got some pink bits which we need to cook properly. Just keep pulling it apart just to check inside. Make sure that it's cooking through. Once this is done, you're going to shred it anyway with a couple of forks. So it doesn't matter if you pull it apart in the pan. That's one bit done. Just keep checking it, make sure it's cooked through. Right, so that's your chicken cooked through, so you just take it out of the pan. We're going to add the bacon now. And basically you just want to fry this until it's sort of crispy. So we've added the onion now to the bacon and just cook them through. Unfortunately, I forgot to set the cameras when I put the onion in, but it doesn't matter. It's in the pan now and it's frying with the bacon. Okay, so we've just turned the heat off on the pan because what we want to do is remove the bacon and onions, and then we're going to shred our chicken with a couple of forks. So with the chicken you just want to shred it into sort of bite-sized pieces, and you do this by pulling it apart with a couple of forks. It's fairly simple, it just takes a wee while to do. You're just pulling it apart along its grain. It shreds quite easily if you do it that way. Done this before and it went flying off the plate. Okay, so we've turned the heat back up on the pan to medium heat again, and we're going to add the mushrooms this time. And we're just going to fry them up until they're nice and soft and brown. To help with frying them, we're just going to add about 30 grams of butter, because the pan would have been fairly dry at this point. So a bit of butter actually helps with the flavour of the mushrooms as well. So they're coming along quite nicely there. So we're going to return the bacon to the pan with the onions. Fry it all together. Right, we now add our 300 millilitres of chicken stock. Mix it all in. In goes the chicken. The chicken will soften up even more after you've mixed it in and cooked it a bit longer. It won't go hard or anything, or tough. It just softens it. Now we want to add about 120 millilitres of cream. I use double cream for this. You can use single cream, but it means that you'd have to put a bit more in and cook it for longer. You want to cook this down until it's fairly thick. Not too thick, because later on you're going to put it in the fridge and it will set. Okay, heat off. Chicken's falling apart. Right, that's done. So heat off, and what we're going to do is put it into a bowl and refrigerate it. I actually do it overnight, but the only thing I would say is if you actually put this in the fridge overnight, it will set quite hard in the fridge. You can of course take it out a couple of hours before you plan to use it in the pastry. This will actually bring it back to room temperature and make it more workable. Just pop it in the bowl, put some cling film on, stick it in the fridge. As I said, I do it overnight. Put it in the fridge overnight. Okay, and now it's time to work the pastry. So we're going to mix up some egg wash. So you just take one egg, break it and whisk it. This is what we used for sealing the edges on the pastry. So I actually use ready roll pastry here. I mean, obviously you can just buy a normal pack of puff pastry and roll it out yourself. I thought this might be a bit quicker. So I'm just rolling it a bit just to make it slightly thinner. Just add some flour to stop it sticking. Turn it over and peel the paper off. And just add a bit more flour. Okay, I use a plastic template here. Basically, the inner portion of it marks out what would be the bottom layer of pastry, and the outer edges mark what would be the upper layer of pastry. So you want the upper slightly bigger than the bottom part, so that it sort of forms a packet. I don't actually cut round the actual plastic template, simply because you could end up with tiny bits of plastic in your pastry, and you don't want that. So I just use a rolling pin as a straight edge to cut out the pastry. So that's your bottom bit, so that will be the smaller bit, and then you just want to mark out the top piece of pastry, which will be slightly larger. As I said, I just mark each corner, inner and outer, and then cut it with a knife. Now obviously with a template you can actually make one out of cardboard if you want. I just happen to have a plastic one there. So you've got one small piece, one large piece, and another small piece there. So with the pastry left over, we're going to roll it out and make more tops and bottoms. So we've just taken our mixture out of the fridge. It's rock hard.
Oh, God, it's not. Rock hard.
As I said before, it's probably better to actually take it out of the fridge a couple of hours beforehand, just to let it come up to room temperature. Okay, so we're just spooning out our filling onto the bottom piece of pastry, and once we've got enough, then we're going to add some egg yolk to the edges and put the top piece on. You'll notice that the egg yolk is actually very, very orangey coloured. The eggs I'm using here are actually from a Burford brown chicken, and they sort of produce very brown eggs with very, very orangey yolks. They're very nice. It just happens to be the only eggs that I had in the fridge at the time. They're free-range chickens. So you want to trim the edges, having sealed them down. And you just want to fold over the edges again just to seal it. Make sure nothing comes out the sides, although it invariably does. So just fold the edges as shown. You'll notice with this one I didn't put any cheese in. With the next one it'll have camembert in, which I'll show you. So you want to pop some holes in just to let the steam out. pop it on your baking tray ready to go in the oven. Just rolling out the excess pastry which I had before, because I need another outer to go with the bottom piece of pastry that I already have, if that makes sense. So just add your filling again. Now this time we're going to slice some camembert and put it on the top. Obviously the camembert melts as it goes in the oven, and it makes a very tasty slice. What I actually did here was 2 with camembert and 2 without. Okay, a bit of egg wash around the edges, and then put your top piece on. Just press it down. Doing exactly what you did before with the other one, but only this one has camembert in it. So you want to trim the edges again. Just seal the edges, just like before. And then just pop your holes in. This just lets out steam and stuff, so you don't turn your slice into a pressure cooker. So you can see 2 in the background there. I made 4 altogether, 2 with camembert and 2 without. That's 3 of them ready to go in the oven. The other one, the 4th one, is actually on another baking tray. So you want to put them in the oven, which has been preheated to 200 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes. Cooking time 30 minutes. Okay, so they're done, and out they come. And there's your slices. They do look very home cooked. I'm sure that Greggs and Gingsters do lovely slices, but they do look factory made. These definitely look homemade, and I'm sure that's a good thing.
Just let them cool down a minute.
Once they've cooled down a bit, just take one out. I'm going to cut it in half just to show you the insides. There you have chicken, bacon and mushroom slice with a bit of cheese on top. Camembert. Lovely. Absolutely gorgeous. There they are, all ready for a photo shoot. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. They are very easy to make and very enjoyable to eat. I can only apologise for being a week late with this video, but my wife has been in hospital for a few weeks and I've had to take on some of the domestic responsibilities in the household. So unfortunately I didn't actually have time to edit any videos. If you like the video, then please hit the like button. That would be very much appreciated. And if you want to see future productions from the Wood household, then please subscribe and you'll get notification of when new videos come out. Thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you the next time. Goodbye for now. Bye.